Hi there, my name is Civilisation and he's Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share and subscribe and ring that little bell so you are notified when new videos drop. And this is a review of Apocalypse Now, one of my all-time favourite movies. I mean, seriously, this one is, if it's not in my top 10, it's in my top 5. I think it's probably in my top 5 movies. Maybe even in my top 3 movies of all time. It's directed by Francis Ford Coppola and it's probably his masterwork. And he's got a bunch of masterworks to choose from, but I think this is really just, it shows his utter mastery of the craft. Every frame of this is technically perfect. You can freeze frame it anywhere, and if you can just pull that frame off your screen and put it on the wall, it makes a perfect, beautifully composed picture. And you can do it with every frame of this movie. It's absolutely breathtaking. Again, his mastery of the craft is on full display, and you can tell he knows exactly what lens to put on the camera for every shot. It's truly breathtaking. So the reason I'm doing this review right now is because I'm giving this movie away this week. I give stuff away every week on this channel. I'm very appreciative for everybody. I would say I'm pathetically appreciative for anybody who subscribes. So please subscribe to the channel. And to show my appreciation, I give stuff away. You like stuff, I like stuff, everybody likes stuff. So the stuff I'm giving away this week is Apocalypse Now in this fantastic packaging, which actually kind of breaks my heart to give away, but I have it on DVD, on Blu-ray now, so it's like silly to keep hold of it. I think it's just sitting at the back of a closet of mine. Better give it to you guys. So again, it comes like this. It's like in this cardboard packaging that makes it feel like sealed orders. This which ties into the movie if you don't know what it is. And again, beautiful artwork on the sleeve. It's got both the 2004 Redux version and the original, what was it, 79 version? I think 79. I should have looked it up before I started this review. Well, fantastic package. All you need to do is subscribe to the channel. I'm subscribing, being super double important from my perspective. So subscribe to the channel and then leave the hashtag Panama Red. Panama Red is, of course, the name of the grass, the weed that one of the characters tries to buy at a USO show. So that's why Panama Red. We do the prize draw on Sunday when I'm on the TARDIS zone. I think this week we're talking about the Doctor Who story Dalek, which stars Chris Eccleston. So go and check out the video notes. There's all the information you need to buy this, to win this movie. I guess you can buy it without my help. So all this information you need to win this movie. If you don't want it, just go ahead and go and buy it from iTunes or something, because it's a movie you simply must own. You really must. Oh, also in the video notes is a download link for a Doctor Who audio story starring Nicholas Briggs. So go help yourself. They need to subscribe to that, but please subscribe anyway. Yeah, it's really weird actually. I've noticed just an aside that my over the last week, the people watching my movies have gone way up. They like doubled. But my subscribers just flatlined. So hit that subscribe button today, make a Rabbi happy, and I think we'll all feel enriched by it. Fine, Apocalypse Now. Let's talk about Apocalypse Now. So the story concerns Martin Sheen's very shady Captain Willard, a black ops military army assassin in the height of the Vietnam conflict. We first meet Willard. He's in one of the many breathtaking and incredibly memorable scenes of this movie. He's taking on a piece of R&R. He's in Saigon, and he's completely off the rails. He's drinking himself to oblivion, and in this seedy hotel room. And the authenticity of Sheen's performance couldn't be stronger, as essentially he's doing exactly what he appears to be doing. He's drinking himself into oblivion in a seedy hotel room, and Coppola is just there recording it, and recording it very well. The entire scene, as I understand it, was improvised, including Sheen's drunken Tai Chi, ending with him smashing a mirror and cutting up his hand. All that stuff is real. The injury was real. Everything about this was real. They said about the making of this movie was a lot like the real Vietnam conflict. They had too much money. They had too many of them, and they were in the jungle, and they were there way too long. And one by one, they all went insane. So all this. This opening scene, this incredible opening scene, is set to the mostly instrumental version of The Doors' "This Is the End," and it's intertwined with this steady beat of helicopter blades, as which then melts into Charlie Sheen looking up in the ceiling, and he sees the fan in his bedroom, and one melts into the other. And just in general, that ever present helicopter blade, just it blades are everywhere throughout this entire movie. You know, in another almost perfect shot. I mean, again, really perfect shot. We track Willard's point of view as he wakes up and he goes to the blinds and he looks out and he realizes that he's still in Saigon. You know, and this is all matched with Sheen's narration that carries us through most of the movie. We find him a man completely out of place with the universe, and sort of torn out of place. He can't live in civilization because now he's become this monster. Vietnam has made him into a monster. The Black Ops, the assassinations have made him into a monster, and he finds a large part of himself still longing to be in the jungle and the horrors of the jungle, which he can't separate from himself. And like, we're literally only 5 minutes into the movie before when we get all this like just masterpiece of acting and direction and light. Just everything about this is perfect. You know, so after his drunken night, the military police find him. And find him in this like trash hotel room, and Willis assumed that he hurt somebody or he murdered somebody in his drunken, blind drunken stupor. Yeah, and he just can't remember it. He asks like, "Well, what did they do?" And and then it turns out he's actually being recruited for a new mission. And again, it goes into another absolutely marvelous scene with a very prominent Harrison Ford making an appearance in a pretty minor role. He's basically just in the scene. So the top brass and a like with a CIA spook that you assume is there, and they're recruiting him, and he's asked about his assassinations he's undertaken for the military before, and his response is just like textbook perfect. He says, he's unaware of any such operation or activity, nor would he be disposed to discuss any such operation if indeed they did exist. So that's this movie. It's this wonderful moral ambiguity where things are revealed by what's not said, by rather what is said. So Willard's mission is to travel up the Denung River in a Navy patrol boat and infiltrate a rogue colonel's unit and terminate his command. They say terminate his command with extreme prejudice. Again, there's such a great script where you reveal more by what's not said than by what is said. So he's got to terminate the command with extreme prejudice, which means kill him, basically. So the rest of the movie forms an odyssey as Willard travels up this river towards the rogue colonel, Colonel Kurtz, and it's really a journey into insanity itself. It's a journey into his own soul, and it's just riveting and beautiful and terrible all at the same time. I cannot tear my eyes from it. Again, it's a movie I've seen. I don't even know how many times I've seen the movie. I think it's one of the best movies ever made. So joining Willard on this journey is the crew of the Navy patrol boat. There's a chief. The chief petty officer George Phillips, who's in command of the patrol boat. Willard's got this great line in his voiceover. He said, it might have been my mission, but it sure as shit was a chief's boat." And there's just one of the many unforgettable lines. And there's also Chef, who's from New Orleans. Who Willard said he was wrapped too tightly for Vietnam. He was probably wrapped too tightly for New Orleans. So he was a real chef, and he just can't stand he couldn't stand the horrors of being an army chef, because he's like a real chef and he loves food and he loves cooking. And he talks about this scene where he was where they like just massacred this beautiful meat, and it broke his heart, and he couldn't stand it, so he opted for combat instead. And that decision has been driving him insane ever since. One of the many standout moments in this movie is when they make a stop to look for mangoes, so that the chef can make something, resulting in this unexpected encounter in the forest. And for the rest of the movie, Chef's completely unraveling, and he keeps repeating the mantra, "Never get off the boat, never get off the boat," and it's just fantastic. The other two grunts on board is Lance Johnson, who's a famous surfer, and an impossibly young Lawrence Fishburne. He was actually only 14 when he started filming this, but the movie took so long to film that he was 17, the age of his character, by the time it was released. Lawrence Fishburne plays gunner's mate, third class Tyrone, Mr. Clean Miller, from as Martin Sheen narrates, from some South Bronx shithole. and the light and space of Vietnam really put the zap on his ass. You know, just I did a fantastic freaking script. That fantastic script done by everybody at the absolute top of their game and in complete turmoil. So together they go in personal turmoil in real life. You know, so which I say that personal turmoil in real life is just captured completely on screen. So together they go on this voyage and get further and further into insanity. And you really get the feeling they're leaving sanity as the further they go up the river. So one of the first stops is perhaps one of the greatest moments in cinema, when you meet was it Robert Duvall's was it Air Cavalry, and they convince him to take this like massive Viet Cong stronghold so they can get entry into a river. And they convince him to do it by saying, "Listen, yeah, the surfing is really great there." And then they're like, "Well, you know, I don't know. It's pretty hairy. It's Charlie's Point." You know, and Robert Duvall's like, "Charlie, don't surf." But again, one of the greatest freaking lines in cinematic history. So what follows is a truly breathtaking sequence, and you got to find the biggest screen you can find to watch it on. If they're ever showing this in the cinema, assuming there will be theaters again after this crazy end, that's where that's where you need to see this. Find the biggest screen possible. Shot, I believe, in the Philippines using the real country's military for the shoot. We have this incredible sequence where we see, I don't know, 8-10 helicopters on screen at the same time, and everything's in camera. There's no CGI. This was like mid-70s when they filmed this. It's just an absolutely breathtaking scene as they race towards their prey. So this sequence, much like the rest of the movie, caused no end of problems for Coppola, who, as I said, went insane during this movie, along with most of the production, as the choppers were on loan they paid a lot of money, I guess, from the Philippine government. And in the middle of the shoot, they would just fly off and go and engage in a real life battle with insurgents from a civil war that was going on actually during the shoot. So all this is married with a Wagner soundtrack that blasted from the helicopters as they attack. This has become like a central part of our cultural cinematic lore. So much so that when Zack Snyder adapted Watchmen, the Dr. Manhattan and Vietnam sequence seamlessly integrated the same soundtrack. It's just one of the greatest cinematic achievements of all time. This is a movie. If you haven't seen it, if I haven't got this managed to get this idea, this is a movie that you have to freaking see. It's filled with so many tiny moments within the sequence of like sheer truth and horror of war. One moment you got this terrified grunt. It must be his first time out. He's refusing to get off the chopper as it lands. And I'm not going. I'm not, before his commander yanks him off to join combat. And the next moment, the soldiers are like yomping through combat, and there's like a newsreel camera filming them, telling them, "Don't look at the camera. Just move on. Just move on." Giving them direction and for their newsreel footage. So this ends with like one of the greatest speeches in cinematic history with Robert Duvall. He ruminates on war and conflict and what it is to his soul, and it's just fantastic script, fantastic directing, fantastic acting. You gotta see this movie. Okay, so later the boat comes across a USO show set up for the soldiers in country as a trio of Playboy bunnies arrive to do a show, which of course, like everything else in the movie, just utterly breaks down and degenerates into chaos. And chaos continues to unfold, and which is underscored when they reach one of the last outposts, this constantly embattled bridge, just by the Cambodia border. So Willard is going around asking the grunts for the CEO. He said, where's your CEO? One of the grunts looks up and said, "Yeah, I thought that was you." It's like there's this completely, everything's out of control. And so eventually they reach the heart of darkness, the name of the book, the Joseph Conrad novella that this is loosely based on. And we find Colonel Kurtz. All the way through the movie, he's been built up as this like mythical and unstoppable force. So he's played by Marlon Brando, and he's shot almost completely statically. He's shot kind of like the shark from Jaws, because when he arrived, he was just this massive bulk he had built. He was not in good shape when he arrived, so he had to shoot him very statically, like to kind of hide it. But he gave them this like this lumbering giant like feeling throughout the whole thing. Also introducing this bit is Dennis Hopper's. I don't think he's named the character. He's a photographer, and he's become this manic disciple of Kurt's. So I'm not going to spoil the conclusion if you haven't seen this movie. But again, it's set against the doors. This is the end, and the movie ends with Marlon Brando's voiceover narrating the last lines of the book. The horror he whispers against a ritualistic sacrificial rites. Again, this is a movie you must see to know what movies are, to know what cinema is. And as you can see, I quite like this one. This is a strong recommend. So as I said, this set I'm giving away comes with the 2004 Redux version as well as the original. I prefer the original. The Redux version gives you nearly an hour of extra footage, gives you a lot of extra scenes. You got this fabled French plantation scene. You got another scene with the Playboy bunnies. But yeah, honestly, I would say go for Coppola's cut. Coppola's cut is moves much quicker. It's much stronger. For my money, it's the one to go for. So there you go. Apocalypse Now, a movie you absolutely must see before you die if you want to know what movies are. My name is Civilisation, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And have yourself a fantastic day.